mirror on the wall. Mirror, mirrors 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 on the wall. Looking in the mirror as I look into my eyes, watch a tear fall as my spirit dies. Choosing my path in this life of yin and yang. Then I close my eyes as the gun goes bang. Gun goes bang. The gun goes bang. As the gun goes bang. The gun goes bang. Then I wonder, is life really death? Feeling out of place in this world of unrest. I feel that I'm failing at life's holy test. In this land of the damned, I must be the only blessed. These decisions that we make, does God give or does He take? The decisions that we make, is life real or is it fake? These decisions that we make, does God give or does He take? Who can mistake the decisions that we make? Then I realize that my life is at stake. I look at my foe as he looks me in the eyes. Then he pulls the gun as the gun goes bang. Gun goes bang. The gun goes bang. As the gun goes bang. The gun goes bang. Then I start to wonder, why did my life have to end? So much pain and hatred, so hard to comprehend. So take heed to the warnings that I tell you, cause if you're not careful, life will kill you. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the sickest one of all? These decisions that we make, does God give or does He take?
What's up, everyone? This is the Tin Man with the Resistance, and this is my first full-length documentary. You know, sometimes in the activist community, you come across trolls. People who just want to be an annoyance. But every now and again, you meet a troll or an alleged activist who just wants to make trouble and be a hindrance to your focus. Or they have an idea, and if you don't agree with or support that idea, then they go out of their way to troll, bully, and even threaten you. And if you speak out against them publicly, then you are automatically the aggressor and you're lying about them. Well, this documentary is about one such individual whose name is Daniel. Some of you might know him better as Your Rights Volunteer, or his original name, Your Rights Vigilante. A professed activist who came up with an idea which he proposed to the activist community known as Anonymous, who in turn shot the idea down. And in response, this person declared war on Anonymous and anyone who does not like his plan, resorting to trolling channels, childish name-calling, and even making slanderous videos against anyone, whether supporters of Anonymous or otherwise, or just people he feels threatened by. Now, I have spoken against this person's actions, but not before he started attacking me. In past videos, I have presented the facts and have shown some evidence to this person's actions. However, I really haven't touched on the depths of Daniel and the YRV, or all of my history and encounters with him. Thusly, he tries to twist things to make it seem like he's the victim of slanderous propaganda, and even challenged me on several occasions to prove my claims and show undeniable proof of my claims. So that is what I'm here to do today. Here you will see all the evidence, emails, comments, video testimony of others, and also clips from incriminating YRV videos which he has since removed from YouTube, documenting and detailing his corrupt actions and his flawed plan. Here's the evidence, and it is 100% documented. This is Nobel Activist or Self-Serving Dictator, a documentary on the YRV. The New World Order, a proposed system of control and tyranny, an enemy to the activist community. The initial plan of any activist group, and even the activist community, has been to unite and destroy this machine. However, in the activist community, there are those who would seek to undermine their fellow activists or follow their own star and have others follow them rather than join with what's already there. Our story begins in the city of California and is about a man named Daniel. Outwardly, he seems like an upstanding individual, the kind of person you would like to have as your neighbor. But this man has a dark side, a side of ambition, jealousy, childish actions, low impulse control, and a lust for power and attention, and who is willing to do whatever it takes to get it, even if that means trolling, harassing, slandering, spamming, threatening, and even extorting people to achieve his goals. But was he always like this? And where did all of it start? Well, there's no way of knowing for sure when Dan started down that path. But what is known is when it all became public, and that is with the formation and proposal of the YRV plan. Dan had seen the corruption in the government, and as per his own statements in the 1980s began working on a plan to fix the government. Then, in late 2012, early 2013, he proposed his plan to members of the activist collective known as Anonymous. When this took place exactly, and exactly how many Anons Dan contacted is unclear. However, what is clear is that for the most part, the proposal didn't go well. Anonymous rejected his plan. However, the details of those interactions are more or less he said, she said, because we don't have access to the original email exchanges. But what is certain is that after Anonymous rejected Daniel's proposal, tensions began to rise and tempers flared, resulting in a bad feeling on both sides. At which point Daniel announced himself and his plan to the world by openly declaring war on Anonymous, trolling and spamming every Anon video and channel he could find, slamming Anonymous, and promoting his plan at their expense, saying Anonymous and their supporters were war-desiring, bloodthirsty terrorists, and that the only way to fix the problems in the world was his plan, the YRV. At which point, members of Anonymous and the Anonymous Collective released the following video statements.
Greetings, your rights vigilante. We are Anonymous. For several weeks we have been watching over you and your campaigns of misinformation and censorship against the Anon community. We have been watching as you post videos on YouTube regarding how Anonymous are nothing more than terrorists and how we plan to cause harm to innocent people. Even when members of Anonymous try to reason and explain to you the facts, you continue to block users, and lastly you threaten several female Anons, for the simple fact that you are nothing more than a hypocrite who can't accept Anonymous for what it is. We would like to make one thing clear: if you choose to carry on and spread lies about Anonymous, we will have no choice but to remove you from the internet. We hope you take this warning seriously and cooperate with our request immediately. We are Anonymous, we are a legion, we do not forget, we do not forgive. Expect us.
This is Anonymous. This message is about your rights. Vigilante Anonymous exposed as collaborating profiteers, censoring you and not wanting world peace. This is a lie from a man that only wants his way only. He is only doing this, as Anonymous does not want anything to do with his plan, as he wants a new government under his control. This is not what Anonymous is about. We stand for peace and free speech. We have shown this many of times. This man even thinks he literally helped build the internet. In an email he sent me, he said that there is an alternative to Anonymous. We have tried this in the past and did not work, as the governments would not take us the people serious. This is why there is Anonymous. We now have governments around the world that are listening to us the people. As they now know us the people do have a say, and have more power than they had ever thought. I will read out an email that was sent to me from your rights vigilante. You should watch your own videos. Think about what would happen if you are able to gather enough support for them to become reality. Think about it hard. Can you remove the banks and force the world into a super depression and expect to live? I must say this man is that far out there that he is crazy and should not be taken seriously. What he is saying is Anonymous wants a world crash. This will only bring pain and hurt to the people around the world. We must stand together and push for the truth and stop the violence we see. In 2013 I will be pushing for the world to understand about one punch can kill. We are meant to be working along each other's side, not killing each other. If we continue in ways of violence, all will accomplish is a bad name for us all. If one wants to make a change for the better for mankind, we first must look at ourselves. As we've been pushing for the truth and peace, we need peace between ourselves and others. We give the governments and the law reasons to attack our rights because of our own actions. We need to stop the violence on others. With this will bring power and better rights to us all. We are Anonymous. We do not forget. We do not forgive. We are Legion. Expect us.
Soon after those videos were released, Daniel of the YRV found his way to my channel, Resistance 2058, spamming and trolling every Anon video featured, force-feeding his plan, and insists on others following him, and waged war with anyone who didn't agree with him or what he thinks. At that time, I knew nothing of Daniel the YRV or his problems with Anonymous. So when I saw his comments, I politely and from a neutral standpoint asked him what he was about. He responded by writing me a private email attacking me. What you are looking at is the first 2 emails he sent me, where in the second he threatened me and goes on the attack before I even had a chance to respond to his first email. Stating, just to be clear and to let you know, I will do everything in my power to stop you and your terrorist Anonymous from killing everyone with your fucked up idiotic thinking that you can take out the US government without killing yourself and millions of innocent men, women, and children around the world. Keep in mind, should you try something with me or my channel, anything Anonymous can do, I can do. Because I am not the government, and I do not have the same rules that prevent me from taking actions against you terrorists that threaten the lives of my family and friends. There you see, he's clearly threatening me and making allegations before he even knows me and before I even had a chance to respond to his first email. And all I had said to him at that point was a comment stating, hey, what's your story? I have read your emails and viewed your videos. I wish to point out that I do respect what you and your following are trying to accomplish, change, and fixing the corrupted system peacefully should be the hope of anyone working to change things. And on that note, you and I are on the same page. However, I will not argue with you over what was told to you about Anonymous or what was told to you by those claiming to be part of Anonymous. Trust, I am not your enemy, nor have I treated you as such, so I would ask you that you please do not do the same and show me the same courtesy I have shown you. I cannot speak for what others may have done, but I have not posted anything about you, your channel, or your organization, nor was I even aware of the existence of any such videos on my page or the pages of others. I do not know what the deal is between Anonymous and yourself, but that had nothing to do with me. Like I said, I am not your enemy, so don't treat me as such. If you are really about peace, as you have claimed, then demonstrate it here and now. If we can't agree, then let's at least agree to disagree and go our own ways. You said I need to make a choice, kill everyone or save the world. Well, if you would watch my videos, you would already know my choice and know that my motto is peaceful resistance is key to peaceful victory. We all seem to be following the same star, but get there by our own course. Our enemy is the corrupt globalist elite, not each other. If we are fighting each other, then our focus is not on our true enemy.
Now, this email exchange continued on for some time in addition to his constant trolling and spamming of my videos. And matters only got worse and worse, and the emails got more hostile and more hostile. At which point, I wound up releasing 3 videos. Opening statements about Your Rights Vigilante, email exchange with Your Rights Vigilante, and the proposed plan of Your Rights Vigilante. And these were up back not even a month or so after YRV started trolling my channel. At which point he sends me the following email stating, "Your video about me. Remove and delete them or this video will become public, and I will take the time to send this link to every single person that has ever commented on every video you have on your channel." Now we wound up making a total of 2 videos, which I will show you clips of now.
This is the face of a terrorist. This individual suffers from some sort of bipolar, paranoid schizophrenia, possibly even Asperger's disease. This individual, if you run across him on the streets, do not approach him. He will likely kill you, thinking that you're some kind of government entity chasing him down. Instead, follow this individual, find out where he lives, and report him to the FBI, Homeland Security, and or the local police authority. Give them his channel ID. I'll show that to you in the link of this video so that you can give it to the police department. Again, this individual is unstable and needs to be put in a mental institution. This is the individual's channel. He's called Resistance 2058. He's got 533 subscribers, and he fancies himself a freedom fighter. He specifically and flat out in no uncertain terms wants a war. There's nothing you can say to convince this idiot individual that there is any way possible that anybody can fix anything in the government. He comes up with every excuse in the book that somebody's going to do something else and stop you no matter what. It don't matter. You have to be prepared, and he's advocating killing people with a war. That is all there is to it, plain and simple. Now let's take a look at his videos down here. this particular video here, Message to Your Rights Vigilante, this was put up by an individual that I had made contact with before I ever posted up a single word about my plan, and he posted this video to try and get Anonymous to take my channel out by stating that I was attacking female anonymous members, which who knows whether you're male or female, American or what. But I did find out that the individual whose channel name at that time was The Oath of Freedom, and his channel specifically stated that he was in the US, was in fact living and out of Syria, right? And this was a communication between me and him when I made a fake anonymous channel and discussed how we could take down the Your Rights volunteer movement. I put that video up in proof of it. Unfortunately, a couple other idiots reposted the video. He did take this video down and I deleted the video that I showed everybody of the proof, but either way, this individual whose channel name is now Anon-Amped was the one who originally made this video. So if you want to see that video, you can watch it on his channel there. But this one here, opening statements about Your Rights Vigilante and the proposed plan of the Your Rights Vigilante, total fabricated, flat out lies, and I'll prove it to you in just a moment. Okay, email exchange with Your Rights Vigilante. I highly recommend you actually go read what he posted. In fact, I would encourage you to do so. It will, so long as you read all the comments, it will prove to you that he is the individual that does not want peace. This individual only wants war and only has one agenda in mind, and that is to start a war that will kill billions of people worldwide. Flat out, end of discussion. So let's get into the video, and I'm going to break down his video about his proposed plan section by section and prove to you that every single word this terrorist told you about the Your Rights Vigilante and the Your Rights Volunteer movement was a flat out total lie, fabrication to get you to not come to the Your Rights Volunteer plan, watch it, and learn how to fix everything in the United States government, everything in every other government of the world, and eventually bring about world peace. To save time, I cut the beginning of his video off and got straight to where he starts talking. Let's nitpick his video and show you every single lie this individual posted.
Now I'm going to cut it right here because from this point on he goes into a near hour-long session picking apart my video piece by piece where he feels that I'm lying about his plan. Then starts promoting his plan at my expense, which is kind of a trademark of his, where he attacks someone and attempts to discredit them, then uses that as a platform to promote the YRV plan. He's done this several times in the past with other YouTubers, and even did this with Anonymous, where he blamed them for the Boston Marathon bombing, then goes on to say that it would have never happened if you joined the YRV. Now, I'm not going to show the remainder of this video because, as I've stated, it's an hour long. If you want to see it, I have it and will share it with anyone who's interested, but for now, let's just keep it short, sweet, and to the point. As for his plan, I'll get more into detail on that later, but let's move on to his next video that he made about me, considering his original video was removed from YouTube for violation of YouTube's terms of service. Then we'll do a little bit of pick apart of our own.
Hello, my name is Daniel of the Your Rights Volunteer Movement, and today's video is concerning a channel called Resistance 2058. It is my personal opinion that this individual is an actual American terrorist. Again, my personal opinion. The reason why I come to this conclusion is because this individual flat out told me specifically in his emails and on his video that he was using to attack and lie about my channel, that there is nothing the citizens of the U.S. can possibly do to repair the government of the U.S., and that somehow magically the global elites will make void anything that the citizens could possibly do to fix the government and repair it properly without a war. And that he states specifically clear, we must be prepared for a war. So this leads me to believe, in my personal opinion, that this individual is suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and possibly even Asperger's disease. Again, that's my personal opinion, but I've watched some of his other videos. One that says calling out the resistance, I believe it was. It's called Calling Out the Resistance Fighters. That's the link to the video where he talks about RTB, which in my personal opinion, he's referencing a resistance tactical bomb. Again, that's my personal opinion, because it fits, and his actions in his video make it suggest that that is what he's referring to, in my personal opinion.
Let's go meet up with this guy. You know, because like I said, I'm not interested in wasting time. I got shit I gotta do. And if we're working together, I can't do that shit if you guys aren't handling your shit. Okay? Pure and simple. So, let's just do what needs to be done. Like I said, you know what I'm talking about. So it is RTB. Pure and simple. RTB.
It is my personal opinion, and I will be doing this as well. I will be turning over the link to this channel over to the Homeland Security offices, and emailing links to the FBI as well as the CIA and anybody who I can find an email link to send this to. And I would suggest that anybody else that values their lives do the same, because it is my personal opinion, and if you watch his videos, you would probably come to the same conclusion, that this individual is totally gone. He says it flat out in his videos. In my opinion, again, this is my opinion and only my opinion, that there is absolutely no way to fix the U.S., and that it is a total dictatorship, totally corrupt, not repairable, and that we must be prepared for a war. So, with that kind of mentality and thinking, I totally suspect the RTB he was referring to would be a resistance tactical bomb. Now, the reason why I say and am concerned about this is because anybody can make a bomb at home, but in order to need somebody else's assistance, a bomb that would be referred to in this instance, in my opinion, would have to be of a relatively large size, which means you might possibly wind up being in a protest or a governmental building of some sort and wind up splattered all over the walls, or possibly some of your friends and relatives. Who knows? But like I said, it is my personal opinion that this individual is a real life terrorist, and if you know this individual, if you know where this individual lives, it is my personal opinion that you should report him to the local authorities, give them the link to this channel so that he can be properly investigated and possibly even get medical attention that I personally believe he seriously needs. Okay? Now, I offer a plan that is designed specifically to remove the ability from the super rich to dictate our government. There is no leadership. There is no 500 individuals at the top of the plan. It is entirely 100% governed, ran, and controlled by every single citizen that volunteers in the plan. It is a volunteer plan. Nobody would volunteer for a dictatorship. So for him to flat out lie about that and then tell me even if we did manage to fix it, that the global elites would somehow manage to negate the overall population of the United States is really, really out there. I am so serious. And that by itself leads to me to believe that this individual suffers from a paranoid schizophrenia of the government. And there's plenty of them out there. It is my personal opinion that this individual may be the next Columbine shooter or possibly the next Tim McVeigh. Either way, just to be on the safe side, if you know this individual, it is my personal opinion that you should report him to the authorities so that he can properly be investigated. Homeland Security, you can Google it. FBI, you can Google them, get an email, send them the links to his channel. The local police authority, especially if you know where this individual lives. Perhaps I am mistaken, but are you willing to risk me or anyone that has a legitimate concern about an individual that may possibly be plotting to blow up someone or a building with a whole lot of someone's in it on the off chance that I'm wrong? This is a personal opinion video due to the comments that he put out to me. A personal opinion because of the flat out total lies that this individual posted about the Your Rights volunteer movement, which is nothing more than a voter information and exchange network. It is not a government, and it is not a dictatorship, and there is no one individual in charge. Please, if you know this individual, it is my personal opinion that you should turn over any information you have to the local authorities, telling them that you suspect this individual of plotting to blow something up. Watch his videos. Watch the video called Calling Out the Resistance. Watch the videos of what he says about my plan and how he says that no matter what, the government and the super elite will find a way to stop me, and that there is no way to fix the U.S. in any way, shape, or form, and that we must all prepare for a war. That means this individual is either stocking up some serious gunpowder or trying to secure a very large bomb. Again, my personal opinion. But I ask any American citizen that values their lives and values the lives of their neighbors and possibly some of their family members, that you should do your civic duty and report this individual as a suspected terrorist. Like I said, again, this is my personal opinion. He made videos about my channel stating his personal opinion, which I am telling you he is lying, and he will most likely say I am lying. But if you watch his videos, you will see what I am saying. Again, it is my personal opinion, but if you watch his videos, I think you will come to the same conclusion, that this individual has no intention on trying to fix anything in the government, and the only outcome that this individual can foresee because of what I suspect is his paranoid schizophrenia about government following him around and all that good stuff, and probably would have a good reason to, considering some of the stuff he talks about on his videos, that there is no way to do anything other than to kill someone in a war that he wishes to start. He sits there in his military camo, talking about how the government is absolutely corrupt and there is absolutely no way to fix it. Anyone that talks like this is in extreme danger to everyone around him. Extreme danger. In my opinion, anyone who believes that there is absolutely no way to repair the United States government because it is absolutely corrupted, and that believes that we must be ready for a war is an extremely dangerous individual. So I put it to you like this. If I am wrong, no harm done. He gets investigated, FBI, Homeland Security clears him, no harm, no foul. If I am correct, and this individual is in fact trying to secure a tactical liberation bomb or whatever, or stocking up an extreme amount of guns and ammunition to start his own little war and possibly do some kind of Columbine type attack or something similar or even worse, then at least we will have saved a few innocent men, women, and children. So I leave it up to you to watch his videos and decide whether or not you think this individual should in fact be turned into Homeland Security, because it is my personal opinion that he should, and I will also be actually doing this. I fully intend to forward the links to his channel and all the videos in question that he has on his channel to Homeland Security to have him investigated fully for a possible terrorist threat against the U.S. government because of what I perceive as his paranoid schizophrenia about the government. Stay safe, everyone. What else can I say? I totally suspect this guy of being a terrorist that is going to kill someone.
Now let's pick apart his statements here, and I do apologize for the visual feed going out during his video. Having downloaded it from YouTube, it's got that code that makes it cut out when you're trying to edit it. But onto the pick apart. Firstly, why he made these videos. He says that he made those videos to warn the public about me and the alleged danger he claims I may pose. Yet it is clear in his email to me that this was only an attempt to blackmail and extort me into taking down my videos against him. When he states that under no uncertain terms that his video will go public if I don't submit to his demands. Now, I had taken down those videos not because of his threats, but because the feud was a distraction and I wanted to put an end to the nonsense. At which point, after I removed my videos, he removed his videos as well, which clearly demonstrates that it was in fact for blackmail purposes and not in the interest of the public as he claimed in the video. Now onto his statements, aside from his terrorist lines, which he uses far too frequently. He says that he thinks I'm a schizophrenic and that I suffer from bipolar and even Asperger's disease, to attempt to justify his statements that I'm a paranoid terrorist and that you should avoid contact with me because I might kill you, thinking you're some government lackey hunting my ass down. First off, to the best of my knowledge, he does not hold a degree in psychology or have any training in mental health whatsoever, and thusly cannot make such a diagnosis. And regardless of that, he is making such an observation or diagnosis about me while in an emotional conflict with me. Thusly, he cannot make an impartial, unbiased diagnosis, especially when in regards to someone he has only ever had limited interaction with online.
In addition to his alleged observations, aside from being baseless, is way apart from what I really am like. Bipolar? Hell, these days anyone who shows emotion or gets pissed off is labeled as bipolar. So I'm going to ignore that altogether and move on to the Asperger's and schizophrenia. In fact, let's start with the schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a mental disorder characterized by a breakdown of thought processes and by a deficit of typical emotional responses. Common symptoms are delusions, including paranoia and auditory hallucinations, and disorganized thinking, including speech. It is accompanied by significant social or vocational dysfunctions. The onset of symptoms typically occur in young adults with a global lifetime prevalence of about 0.3 to 0.7%. Diagnosis is based on observed behavior and the patient's reported experiences. Now, I've never had or suggested that I have had any delusions of any kind. Daniel chops up my being mindful of the government corruption and the New World Order agenda as being paranoid. Well, if that's the case, then that means that every political activist, including YRV himself, are potentially schizophrenic, because we see corruption in the government, and if Daniel doesn't see the corruption in the government and isn't concerned about it, then what's the point of his plan? You know, he's kind of trying to play both ends of the field here, and it doesn't work out for him. Now on to Asperger's syndrome, also called Asperger's disorder. It is a type of pervasive developmental disorder, PDD. PDDs are a group of conditions that involve delays in the development of many basic skills, most notably the ability to socialize with others, to communicate, and to use imagination. Now, where does that sound like me? As you can see from my videos and even the creativity of this documentary, I'm highly creative, which takes a great deal of imagination. Now, as for me lacking or having limited social skills and the ability to communicate, I have countless friends whom I see regularly. I've had my fair share of girlfriends. I used to work in security, and I now work in pro wrestling, where communication and social skills are key factors to success in that business. So the whole notion of me having Asperger's is completely shot. But I just love how he goes around calling myself and others paranoid terrorists. In fact, I seem to remember another individual who pulled the same crap.
Evil terrorists making fun of me. Evil terrorist, cartoon making terrorist, evil terrorist. Al-Qaeda.
Next, he claims that I told him that the government is beyond fixing and is beyond repair, that there is nothing the people can do, and that war is inevitable and our only option. I have actually addressed this in a past video, which I will show you the clip here. You said I need to make a choice, kill everyone or save the world. Well, if you would watch my videos, you would already know my choice and know that my motto is peaceful resistance is key to peaceful victory. First off, you either get an elected official in office of the presidency, or you take over the government, like what happened in Egypt, which is, as per the Constitution, if the government exceeds its parameters, the United States citizens are obligated to take control of the government and restore it to its original parameters. That's as per the United States Constitution. Either that or get an elected official in there that's by the people for the people. Then you implement policies that completely undermine the New World Order agenda, just completely undoes all the damage that they've done and restores the government and the Constitution to its original parameters. Then you implement policies in addition to those policies already in place that protect those existing policies that restored everything and prevent the New World Order agenda from having any more influence. No more outside influence, no more government puppets, none of that shit. Just completely cock-block the New World Order from having any influence whatsoever in the United States government, even on a monetary standing. And then, after all that's said and done, the New World Order's cock-blocked and the government, the Constitution are restored, you set up a website for candidates and proposed bills. And what I mean by this is, you have a website in place where candidates running for any office from local and city government all the way up to the United States presidency can apply for candidacy, and if approved, they get their own little profile page on this website detailing who they are, what they're about, what they're for, what they're against, and all their little campaign videos. In addition to that, pages for whatever bills. You know, you got a bill coming out of Congress, post it to that website, details what the bill is, and then people can vote on it. And that would negate the need for campaign contributions because all of it's done on this website. They can post their little campaign videos for their elections or push whatever policies and whatnot. And people can go to this website free of charge. You know, might as well put our tax dollars to work on something. And then people can go and vote for that shit in November like they always do.
His next bogus notion is in regards to a video of mine titled Calling Out My Resistance Fighters, where I used the term RTB, which is a military term for return to base. Now, most people know this, and as a former officer of the military, I know Daniel knows this as well. However, Daniel tries to play on words suggesting that RTB means Resistance Tactical Bomb, which to me suggests that he thinks that the general public, especially the activist community, are stupid and don't know any better, and would actually believe the silly notion that I am in some way trying to make or acquire an explosive device or some kind. Now, I've called him out on this several times, both publicly and privately, and even in past videos, and he has never responded in regards to this matter. In fact, he has always avoided addressing any points I make against him or his claims, and attempts to shift the attention off of the matter by dishing out insults or just never replying at all. In fact, even YouTuber John Connor has called YRV out on this issue in one of his videos, and YRV has never responded to that either.
One of the skills that I have is sniffing out bullshit and seeing useless engagements taking place. Okay? Now there's some pretty fucking serious stuff in the world happening right now. Okay? The Anonymous Collective has hacked just about every database on the planet. We're still sifting through that information. That could take some time. Okay? But we got opposing groups, and finally I'm going to name one. This YRV group that has been coming down, okay, on us has got to stop. It has to stop. Okay? I've paid attention to it. I've listened to the videos. I've not done yet, but I am going to finish watching every one of the videos on his channel. I have seen his plan. I'm not particularly impressed with his idea. I will not lie to you. It was an idea that I also had few years ago, maybe 3 years ago. It was an idea that was put forth in the resistance in its totality. That idea was also built on by very intelligent people, and it was voted and still said, no, we can't do this, because it's not the idea of how he wants to fix it that's wrong. It's the reattribution of power, which is going to lead to even less people. Forget having to worrying about the 1% now. If this thing goes through, and it does get manipulated in any one little way, we'll be worrying about a 0.5% or a 0.1% instead of a 1%. It's going to make it smaller. It's the New World Order's little brother, for lack of a better explanation. But it's not funded or backed by any of these societies in which that we've taken our time to look into. Why do I know this? Nowhere near sophisticated enough. Okay? Now, why am I upset? I'm not upset because the guy had a freaking bad idea. My goodness. That's not why I'm upset. I'm upset because he has made it a point to make it public that he wants to report the channel of one of our own soldiers to the FBI and to the CIA. That's not cool, guys. We can't have stuff like that happening. Not over stupid little squeamishes and squabbles and things like that. That can't be cool. So I've watched it. I'm very, very disappointed with it. Him, personally, I would have to, let's not forget, we're all about giving our personal opinions today, which is exactly why I started this video the way that I started it. Because in my personal opinion, he's a fucking tool. All it is. He's a tool. And there's nothing we can do about this guy. He's going to do what he wants to do, and according to him, we can't stop him. But he's made it quite clear, quite clear, that he is prepared to give people away to the CIA, to the FBI, if they don't agree with him. Well, I'm going to tell you, YRV, I don't live in the United States. And your alphabet agencies don't scare me. Okay? They never have. They never will. They'll black bag me, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that fate. I don't think I'm doing anything in which is going to warrant getting black bagged. But I'm telling you, dude, there's nothing you can say that's going to scare me, even if you think you're scaring a few little people on the side. These people that you think are scaring, they're not as small as you think they are. They really aren't. There's entire operations being put together through people like the people you are attacking. These operations, surprisingly enough, are 100% legal. RTB, resistance, tactical bomb. Are you freaking kidding me? That has to be the most absurd thing. But my personal opinion is that the resistance uses words that the military uses. And RTB equals return to base. You nincomtwat. RTB equals return to base. That also means in an electronic world, go back to the freaking drawing board. Okay, you gotta do what you gotta do. RTB in real world means whoever is within earshot of this video and can make it to me, come to my house, because we need to discuss things. We need to push this thing forward, and we have to remove or add what is required. RTB, return to base. You ignorant fucking dumbass. But that's just my personal opinion, you know, because I can't speak for the collective. My goodness, that would be very ignorant of myself. I can't do these things. Bad, Connor. Bad. But in my personal opinion, you can take your plan, and you can take your alphabet agencies, and you can stick them up your fucking ass. Because if you piss people like us off, nothing electronic around you is going to work anymore. It's not a threat, dude. Shit just happens, man. The last person that made an attack on Anonymous didn't fare very well. So, I'm not issuing any formal threats to anybody. Merely dictating the facts. Someone that comes after them like this gets fucked up. And you've already been warned, you've already been told. And this is what has been surprising to me, because I see governments and judges siding with this collective. And then you come out of the woodworks getting ready to rat them out? Or try to? Dude, this video won't be finished playing, but we will know more information about your organization than you know about your own organization. That'll be forwarded to me in less than 48 hours. And maybe I decide to bring it to my country's alphabet agencies. Because maybe my country's alphabet agencies is going to declare that what you're doing is terrorist fucking organizations. You better be careful when you throw shit like that around. Because the Anonymous Collective in certain parts of the world holds military power. You may not believe that. You don't have to believe that, because you also don't believe that there is an agenda at play that some will call the global elites or the Bilderbergers or the most wealthy men of the world trying to make more money for themselves and take more away from us. So, you don't understand this realm and this war. And I use the word war very loosely, because there's no shots being fired from us. Nobody has sent a drone from the Anonymous side of the fence to kill American civilians. No anonymous individual that I'm aware of has brought explosive devices to protest, so much so to the point that they're going to jeopardize their own brothers and sisters and soldiers at arms, regardless if there's arms to be found or not. You're going to have to go back to a lot of your video footage, my dear friend, and you're going to have to investigate. Investigate. Stop blowing shit out of your ass like that, man. It's not going to work. It's not going to fly. You're upsetting too many people. YRV. RIP, brother.
He also tries to justify his claims that my videos support his RTB notion and that I am violent and pro-war. However, as you can see in this clip, that is clearly not the case.
Peaceful resistance is key to peaceful victory.
Now, if I were in fact a threat to the general public as he has suggested in his video, then why did he take it down when he had it online as unlisted? And why is it that he did not make it public and again removed it from YouTube when he threatened me with that video a second time when he came back to my channel a few months later and I told him to go right ahead and post it, that it was free publicity for me? The answer is simple. It was never intended to warn the people or protect them from a possible danger. It was only a tool to try and blackmail and bully me into doing what he wanted, and as he stated in the video, was a response to me. If not, then by all reasoning that video should be public on his channel and he would have made good on his claim to have me investigated by the authorities. But yet the only way you knew about this video was through me. It's not on his channel, and to this day I have not been contacted or, to the best of my knowledge, been investigated by any authority. Why? Because his video and his claims, even if they are just his personal opinions, are pure bullshit. Now, some of you might be saying to yourselves, Okay, so maybe he's emotional and even reckless with his comments at times, and as a result you guys couldn't agree, had an argument, and he made a slandering video about you. What's the point here? The point is that this guy not only gives activists everywhere a bad name, but he himself is not fit to be an activist or a movement starter, a leader, or a teacher of a movement, because he is a liar and is delusional and cannot control his emotions, and as a result acts like a child and in many respects a dictator. And he makes matters worse when he sits there and cries, "He's lying about me, he's lying about me," when all I've said in my original videos was that he was a trolling, spamming asshole, and that I gave my opinion on his plan and where I felt it was flawed. In my original 3 videos, I showed the emails and his comments, which are reposted to deviantart.com on my journal, because as you can see, Daniel does not stand by his words, and when he sees that he's digging himself into a hole, he deletes his comments and tries to cover up the evidence, all of which makes him untrustworthy and unreliable, and thus should not be followed or be taken seriously. That is my point. And it's not just Anonymous he fights with trying to defend his plan. It's anyone who speaks out against him about anything, and that includes attacking children. What you're about to see is a video taken from his Xbox channel, the HGC Gamer Club, where he tears into a 12-year-old boy over Xbox clamps and also professes to have created the internet.
Hello and welcome to the Hardcore Gamers Club, your safe spot for all things gaming. This video is in response to Zoe's Rule, or Zoe's Rule, ZEOSRULE. That's his channel ID. Kid looks to be about 12, possibly 13. Makes a video about me. Titled the video "To the Misguided Man." Alright. Kid, you're a self-centered, self-guided individual that has no clue as to what he's talking about, and your parents should take you out behind the woodshed and whoop you. Okay? You are a self-admitted bolt pusher that sells these kits on eBay, selling crap junk boxes that you have destroyed and sold on there. Yeah, you got good comments on your eBay channel, but only because these boxes last about 30 or 40 days or so and wind up breaking down. Every once in a great while they may last a little bit longer. 99% of the time when somebody gets their box in the mail, they're going to go on there and they're going to click good comment, good feedback, and whatnot. Okay, you're sitting here telling me that the bolts are acceptable and are better than the X clamps. Kid, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Telling me that you have been doing this since you was 6 years old. Big whoopee deal. So have I. Okay, if it wasn't for me and my friends, you wouldn't even have an internet right now to even complain about me telling everybody the truth about the X clamps. You're just pissed off because more and more people are finding out that the bolts are not an acceptable method of repair. They are extremely damaging to the game systems, and you're starting to lose money that you've been stealing from your peers' piggy banks, and just to line your own. You know what, someday I think you're going to wind up making your own company and going to prison for embezzlement because you are such a greedy, self-centered individual.
And the reason I speak out against your bullshit, because that's what activists do. They see corruption, bullshit, and wrongdoing, and they call it out. They address it and make it known to the world. That is what real activists do. That is not trolling, that is not stalking, that is not spamming, that is not any of the shit you do, Daniel. We report on the bullshit. And when I look at you, I see a really big pile of it. And one such example of this is your hypocrisy. You sit here and you call me a liar and all this shit and say I'm attacking a kid when I didn't. As I've already addressed, that's not my video, it's just a video I reposted. But you attack me saying I'm attacking a kid, yet in your video on your little Xbox channel, your little video, Xbox Repair Clovis, California, a response to a YouTube channel, Zio's Rule, aka The Brat, where you attack and troll in your video a 12, 13-year-old boy who spoke out against you over something so stupid as clamps versus bolts or screws or something. And you just go off on this tangent tearing this little kid up. I mean, seriously, you are a 40-something-year-old man rolling around in the mud, in a matter of speaking, with a child. Dude, talk about the pot calling the kettle black on a whole new level. Dude, you are nothing but a freaking hypocrite. And for what? Now, as I'm sure you've noticed, just as I have, Daniel said in his video that had it not been for him and his friends, there would not be an internet. He is thus crediting himself for playing a part in the creation of the internet. However, there is no record of him anywhere crediting him for playing any role, even a very small role, in the creation of the internet. So it is clear that he is either lying or is extremely delusional. And that's not a diagnosis, that's merely an observation. I have done my research on the creation of the internet, and the facts surrounding the creation of the internet are as follows. You can look them up for yourself and confirm my findings and my statement. The initial idea was credited as being Leonard Kleinrock's after he published his first paper titled Information Flow in Large Communication Nets on May 31st of 1961. In 1962, J.C.R. Licklider became the first director of IPTO and gave his vision of a galactic network. In addition to ideas from Licklider and Kleinrock, Robert Taylor helped create the idea of the network that later became ARPANET. The internet as we know it today first started being developed in the late 1960s. In the summer of 1968, the Network Working Group held its first meeting chaired by Elmer Shapiro with the Stanford Research Institute, with attendees Steve Carr, Steve Crocker, Jeff Rulifson, and Ron Stoughton. In the meeting, the group discussed solving issues related to getting hosts to communicate with each other. In December 1968, Elmer Shapiro, with SRI, released a report, a study of computer network design parameters. Based on this work and earlier work done by Paul Baryon, Thomas Morrill, and others, Lawrence Roberts and Barry Wessler helped to create the final version of the Interface Messaging Processor specifications. Both Baranek and Newman Incorporated, BBN, was later awarded the contract to design and build the IMP subnetwork. UCLA put out a press release introducing the public to the internet on July 3rd, 1969. August 29th, 1969, the first network switch and the first piece of network equipment called IMP, which is short for Interface Message Processor, is sent to UCLA on September 2nd, 1969. The first data moves from UCLA host to the switch. On Friday, October 29th, 1969 at 10:30 p.m., the first internet message was sent from computer science professor Leonard Kleinrock's laboratory at UCLA. After the second piece of network equipment was installed at SRI. This connection not only enabled the first transmission to be made, but also considered the first internet backbone. The first message to be distributed was LO, which was an attempt at login by Charlie S. Klein to log into the SRI computer from UCLA. However, the message was unable to be completed because the SRI system crashed. Shortly after the crash, the issue was resolved and he was able to log into the computer. It was Ray Tomlinson who sent the first network email in 1971, the first messaging system to send messages across a network to another user. Then in 1973, Vinton Cerf and Robert Kahn designed TCP and later published it with the help of Jochen Dahl and Carl Sunshine in December of 1974 in RFC 675. In addition to Bob Metcalfe developing the idea Ethernet in 1973. In 1974, a commercial version of ARPANET known as Telenet was introduced and considered to be the first internet service provider. Dennis Hayes and Dale Heatherton released the 80-103A modem in 1977. The modem and their subsequent modems became a popular choice for home users to get online. In 1978, TCP splits into TCP/IP, driven by Danny Cohen, David Reed, and John Schoch to support real-time traffic. This allows the creation of UDP. TCP/IP is later standardized into ARPANET on January 1st, 1983, and is still the primary protocol used for the internet. Paul Macapetris and John Postel introduced DNS in 1984, which also introduces the domain name system. The first internet domain name, Symbolics.com, is registered by Symbolics, a Massachusetts computer company, on March 15, 1985. Then in 1989, the first commercial internet service provider in the US, known as The World, was introduced. This was the first ISP to be used on what we consider today to be the internet. In 1990, Tim Berners-Lee developed HTML, which made a huge contribution to how we navigate and view the internet today, followed by his introducing www to the public on August 6, 1991. The World Wide Web, WWW, is what most people today consider the internet, or a series of sites and pages that are connected with links. The internet as a whole had hundreds of people who helped develop the standards and technologies that make it what it is today. But without the www, the internet would not be as popular and useful as it is today. Mosaic is the first widely used graphical World Wide Web browser developed and first released on April 22, 1993 by the NCSA with the help of Mark Andreessen and Eric Bina. A big competitor to Mosaic was Netscape, which was released a year later. Today, most of the internet browsers we use today, e.g. Internet Explorer, Firefox, etc., got their inspiration from the Mosaic browser. Originally known as Oak, Java is a programming language developed by James Gosling and others at Sun Microsystems that was first introduced to the public in 1995 and today is widely used to create internet applications and other software programs. Originally developed by Brandon Eric and known as LiveScript, which was renamed to JavaScript in 1995, JavaScript is an interpreted client-side scripting language that allows a web designer the ability to insert code into their web pages. Now, I didn't see Daniel referenced or credited anywhere. However, it does say that hundreds of people played a role in the creation of the internet. And if in the unlikely event that Daniel of the YRV was one of those people, I challenge him to show some documentation in reference to the part he played in its creation and whom he worked for or worked under, who can corroborate his story. Otherwise, as I've said before, he is either lying or is delusional, and thus is just another reason as to why he is untrustworthy, unreliable, and thusly should not be followed or taken seriously. Now, after I took down my videos, he in turn took down his, and after a short-lived back and forth email bitch session, we both went our separate ways. Now, you would think that would have been the end of it. Hell, that's what I had hoped for. But sadly it wasn't. A short time later he returned to my channel, commenting on a video of mine titled, "We the People Demand," where he said, "Well, that is more than most anonymous followers do. Perhaps there is hope for you yet. You need to talk to me more about how the YRV plan works, because your comments about my plan are way off. I do not know if it is because I did not make the plan overview good enough to explain it, or you skipped over sections, but the plan will 100% do everything I say it will. There is no doubt about it. I understand I am not a pro video maker or speaker. You only see potential because you don't understand it." This leads to a whole other email exchange, which unfortunately I did not bother to document because the email exchange actually started out pretty well and even had him offer me the position of arbitrator of the YRV plan. I turned down his offer and said that I did not wish to be a part of his plan, but would be more than willing to help him remarket his plan and his public image. All that he would have to do is listen to the people's input and ideas in regards to his plan, ignore the critics, and stop trolling and spamming anon channels. I never said he had to stop his trying to prove his point about Anonymous, but I suggested he do it in a way where real facts are presented and he doesn't do it in a way that makes him look like a trolling stalker, spamming and force-feeding his idea. He for the most part rejected my offer, but said that he would accept my help to a point provided I say that I lied about him and his plan. I then stated I didn't lie and as of such cannot make such an admittance, at which point we were back to square one, where he went back to trolling my videos and I for the most part tried to ignore it. Come to find out that aside from trolling myself, he was targeting others as well, prompting even further responses from Anonymous to the point that they released his personal information. But he, for some foolish reason, kept on trolling and starting problems with other YouTubers, including activists Conspiracy Anonymous, Grandmaster Revan, and even a YouTuber by the name of Jeffrey McLean, who, from what I can see, does not profess to be part of Anonymous or the activist community in any way, but is actually just a troll who likes to focus his attention on bronies and furries, and who just happened to cross YRV's channel.
I am nothing, I am nobody, and this is my opinion. Your Rights Vigilante has posted a lot of comments on my videos. And this gives a good insight into the kind of person he is and what he actually supports. He styles himself as a rights advocate. It's in his name, Your Rights Vigilante. Of course, he calls himself Your Rights Advocate, but it's all the same. It's the channel name actually says Vigilante. So, 6 in 1, have it as the other right. A vigilante is a type of advocate. So, thing. Anyway, point being that these comments give an insight into the person and what he actually supports. So, what does this rights advocate actually support? Well, he supports sending a child to Guantanamo Bay. This under the idea that the child has been verified as having performed a terrorist act. So this isn't a matter of sending an innocent child. This is a child that is guilty of a terrorist act, verifiably so. Guantanamo Bay is a human rights violation, a serious one. And sending a child into that is fucked up. But he would do it. He would have that happen. Another thing is he's fond of telling people who disagree with him that they should be on medication. That they should be medicated for the crime of disagreeing with him, for having a different opinion than him, for seeing things differently than him. That's pretty fucked up. That's a human rights violation. And he supports it. He's all for it. There's a big, serious human rights violation to medicate, to drug people just because they disagree with you. And he supports it by his own actions. He tells his detractors that they need to be medicated. This is a guy who claims to be a rights advocate. And already we have 2 significant civil and human rights violations he personally would support. He corrected me on something, which is probably valid, but also an interesting turn. I said that he was saying that Anonymous was behind the Boston Marathon bombing. He corrected me. He's saying that Anonymous is responsible for the Boston Marathon bombing. Now, what's the difference? Well, there is a very small difference. People will blame things, say that people or things are responsible for something that they were not behind. If you were behind something, you actually had something to do with it. You were part of it. But just saying a person's responsible, they could have so much as like peed in the general direction and be accused of being responsible. It's a thing people do when they want to suppress rights. It's not a thing a rights advocate would say. It's the kind of thing somebody says when they're looking to shut down your rights, to strip you of rights, to eliminate your rights. No fucking wonder Anonymous wants nothing to do with this guy. Yeah. I actually don't think that this guy is trustworthy just on the fact that he spends his time attacking Anonymous instead of moving past Anonymous laughing him off and going ahead and doing his plan anyway. I mean, Anonymous can't stop him. Anonymous isn't going to try to stop him. If they think that his plan is foolhardy, why bother? If they thought the plan was worthwhile, they'd get behind him. To some degree, at least. Not necessarily totally. I don't trust Anonymous. No. I would be a fool to do that. I don't trust corporations. And I don't trust an advocate who throws a hissy fit every time somebody disagrees with him. Trust is earned. I like Anonymous. Sometimes they're pranksters. Sometimes they're assholes. And sometimes they're advocates. And sometimes they're playing video games. And sometimes they write poetry. And sometimes they urinate on somebody's grave. But that's Anonymous. There are quite a few things that you could find within Anonymous that are pretty fucked up. It shouldn't be that hard to dig. But just like furries, there's a lot of fucked up furries out there. Hackers, let's take the hackers. Big bad guys. They break into everything. They do all kinds of bad things. So hackers are all bad. We gotta shut down the hackers, right? Well, I'm a hacker. Let me show you my hack. There it is. It's called a 3D printer. It's fucking badass. There are people who are saying that the 3D printer is going to change the world. I don't buy it. It's a nice thing. Here's another hack. This is a remote control for a fan. It's turned off right now. Sweet hack. That is a remote control for a robot. Sweet hack. Happens. No, I don't do anything with security. I left, that was a phase when I was a child. I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that for so long that I couldn't do it. I have a basic idea. But yeah, I do hack, which is why I have a keyboard on my keyboard. Yo dog, I heard you like keyboards, so we put a keyboard on your keyboard. He comments on my rotting teeth. Oh yeah, my teeth are bad. So fucking what? A rights advocate is going to really care about my bad teeth. Except for the fact that the lack of access to proper health care and dental care. Oops. Yeah, he doesn't care about that. No. Yeah, I need to go to a dentist, but I can't afford it. That's just the way it is. So I live with it. Well, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about my rights. He doesn't care about your rights. He only cares about his power. So, yeah. A large segment of Anonymous do bad things. And that doesn't mean that all of Anonymous are bad. A large section of hackers do bad things. That doesn't mean all hackers are bad. A large section of furries do bad things. That doesn't mean all furries are bad. I'll say it. I will say it. Bronies. Most of the bronies stay the fuck away from me. Because they know, stay away from trolls. The people who say things. And what I'm saying isn't even harmful. I'm just comparing the brony fandom to a different fandom. Which wouldn't matter if you weren't saying, if you weren't trying to cast the other fandom in a bad light. If you're okay with both fandoms, then what I'm saying is harmless. And otherwise, but I figure the bronies that show up are not representative. I hope I'm almost certain that Business Pony, who pretends he's a businessman, I'm pretty sure he doesn't represent the brony fandom in any way, shape, or form. He'd like to think he does, but I don't buy it. And yeah, I fuck with those people. And if those people go away, leaving only the bronies who can pretty much see from a mile away that I'm not worth messing with, the brony fandom would be better off. And it's the same with furries. The furries who actually try to throw a hissy fit, the fandom would be better off without those people. And if you want the fandom to be in a good light, talk about the fandom in a good light. Furry, brony, don't go to the dark. Now, this rights vigilante, if he was actually a rights advocate, he'd be spending his time focusing on human rights violations and not messing with a nebulous entity such as Anonymous. Whether he can defeat them or not is irrelevant. Although he can't, but the fact of the matter is that he's trying is kind of shows he really doesn't care about people's rights, particularly their right to anonymity.
I am nothing, I am nobody, and this is just my opinion.
Greetings, your rights volunteer continues to spam the comment section of my videos. And I pointed out that Your Rights Volunteer would endorse a few interesting human rights violations based on the comments he's posted in my videos. He responds by calling me a liar because I don't watch his videos, as if anything he said in his videos would alter what he's posted in the comment section of my videos. So basically, he's trying to take his words away. He's can't stand by his words and will just wash it away as soon as it's inconvenient. Why should I even waste my time reading all of this spam if he can't stand by his words? Better yet, why should I even watch his videos if he can't stand by what he said? Yeah. He claims that he's trying to set up a leaderless organization and that he's not out for power. Actions speak louder than words. He set up an organization with him as the leader. Obviously, he's not doing what he claims. One other interesting point that I noticed is that, well, he's accusing Anonymous of being terrorists, but before that, he approached Anonymous to recruit them. Now, if he believes that Anonymous are terrorists, then he tried to recruit terrorists. On the other hand, if he doesn't believe it, then yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah. Anyway, all this shit he's saying about Anonymous is total bullshit.
Now, as I said, the trolling carried on for a while, and I was eventually asked what the deal was with YRV trolling Anonymous videos on my channel. I brought up that question in a Q&A video I did on July 23rd, 2013, followed by a video titled About Your Rights Vigilante, where I answered said question. At which point Daniel responded, going on another commenting rampage, prompting this video response from me. The video is titled Message to Your Rights Volunteer, where I call him on a lot of his bullshit. Soon after that video was posted, it was removed by YouTube for violating YouTube's terms of service under the grounds of cyberbullying. I appealed the removal and eventually the video was reinstated, but not before I released my next video titled Campaign Against Your Rights Volunteer. Considering Daniel had decided to usher in a flagging campaign on YouTubers for posting videos calling out his actions on their channels, I felt it was only appropriate that those he trolls and harasses should flag and report him for his actions of trolling, spamming, harassment, slander, and extortion. At which point he sent me an email which I read off and addressed in the video. Your Rights Volunteer shows his true colors, which I will show you here. What's up, everyone? This is the Tin Man with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance. And today's video is in regards to an email I received from YRV, Your Rights Volunteer, Your Rights Vigilante, where he shows his true colors and his true nature. He has said on many occasions about myself and others that we are liars and terrorists. He calls me a liar and a terrorist. He calls others liars and terrorists because we speak out against him and his actions of harassment, trolling, cyberbullying, attempts at blackmail and extortion, and so on. And he continues to do the same actions and get called out on the same actions, and then whines and bitches that people are bullying him when they respond. and address these issues. And frankly, I'm not going to be bullied. No, I'm not going to be bullied at all. And this email is verbatim him trying to bully and even blackmail and extort me into taking down my videos and retracting my statements against him. And I will not do it. Now, I will be reading the email off to you so that you can see for yourself this person's true colors. Now, this is not done in a way to bully this individual or any such actions. It's just verbatim speaking the truth, showing this person for who they really are. And of course, he will say that I am a liar and try to bully him. And he will probably try to flag my video just as he tried to do to my last video and the video before that, which he did manage to get removed from YouTube, which is now reposted to another site. But nevertheless, the people will be able to see this video and see this individual for who he really is. Now, before I go into the email, I want to show you that I am verbatim going to be reading his email sent to me from his channel here on YouTube, and that this is not some made up bullshit by me, that this is verbatim what he has said. And if need be, I can send YouTube a copy of this. In fact, I've already addressed the issue with YouTube in regards to the matter. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let me readjust my cam. And I'll go ahead and read this off. Email message from Daniel, YR volunteer. Subject, this is your last chance. Body says, I am tired of your terrorist shit and attacks on my channel. You continuously make propaganda videos with total bullshit and lies regarding the YRV plan. And I am ensuing you a demand right here and now. Remove all your lying shit videos with any mention of or about the YRV altogether from your channel, or I will dog your channel and violate you for every little thing on any and every video you upload from now until hell freezes over. I will look for and identify every policy infraction, no matter how small, in every video you own. I will save the violations and time them in such a way as to violate your channel so many times over a specific time frame that YouTube will remove your whole fucking channel. I will dog your channel the same as you tell others to dog my channel. I will see to it you cannot make a comment on your Facebook or any anonymous forums without me there to call you a terrorist bitch, to the point and extent even anonymous followers will block you from their channel just to keep me away from their channels. As for your comment of coming here and beating my ass, bitch, if you feel like a frog, leap. I am in no way afraid of you and am more than able to put your ass down for good. You have 3 days to make your choice. After that, I do not care if you make a public apology. I will never stop. I will find your employer and inform him of your terrorist activity in an attempt to get you fired. If you're a welfare puppy, I will contact your worker to get your assistance removed. If you're on disability, I will, if necessary, hire a private investigator to tell you and video you. If I must, I will put it on a credit card, all just to put you away by proving any fraud on your part or even possible tax evasion, even in the smallest detail. I will make your life a living hell. I will not tolerate your terrorist lies and actions directed at me and the YRV plan any longer. So you have a choice to make, boy. What will it be? And you had better take your time and think this through. Now, if I'm correct, that sounds like bullying to me, but to YRV, I'm a liar. And everything I say about him being a bully and a troll and everything else, it's just me being a liar. But you know what? It's right here in his own damn emails. Trying to bully me and extort me into doing what he wants. Trying to threaten me into submission. And you know what? It's not going to happen. I'm not going to remove my videos, and I am not going to stop addressing the fact that YRV is being a bully. He is a bully, and it needs to stop. Cyberbullying is a big problem, and YRV is part of that problem, and it needs to stop. If he wants to be an activist, fine, be an activist. If he wants to be a troll and try to bully people and all the other shit he's doing, then he has no business on YouTube or even talking to anybody in the activist community, and YouTube needs to remove him immediately. Hence my campaign to have him removed from YouTube. But I'm going to address a few of the things that he said in this email. First off, he's going to flag all my videos. Let's see. I've already reported him to YouTube for his actions and also forwarded this email to them. They are well aware of what has been said in this email, and any action he takes in regards to fulfilling his promise and threat to flag my videos is going to be seen as an execution of that threat, and thusly, one, will not be taken seriously, and two, will just result in getting him in even more trouble. So, you know, anything he does against my channel at this point is just going to show YouTube that he is a troll and a cyberbully, and that he does need to be removed. In a sense, he will be shooting himself in the foot. Further down, his statement, as for your comment of coming here and beating my ass, no, I never said I was going to beat his ass. I said I could go to his house and beat him within an inch of his life. But I also stated thereafter that I was not going to resort to such action because it would cause more trouble than it was worth, and that he was not worth it. Not backing down from a fight or anything. I'm just stating what I said in my video. I did not say I was going to beat his ass. I said I could, but I'm not going to because it was counterproductive and would cause more problems. And, you know, all his issues and statements saying that he's going to do this to me, he's going to do that to me, you know, I'd love to see him fucking try. There is nothing he can do to hurt me. He's not going to be able to get me fired from my job. And, you know, he's not going to be able to get me for tax evasion or anything. So, you know, I make sure all my fucking ducks are in a row. I handle my shit. So this guy's got nothing on me. And if he thinks he's going to get something on me, he's just wasting his time and his money to run into a dead end. And again, it's only going to hurt him in the long run because his actions on YouTube and even in any public forum where there's a paper trail will be monitored, and if it shows that he is resorting to such action in an attempt to harass people, then it's just going to result in more trouble for him. So he can knock himself out and shoot himself in the foot at this point. I'm not going to take my videos down. In fact, I'm going to repost my 3 previous videos from him, or in regards to him. And in fact, I may wind up making more videos about him if I feel it necessary. For every action, there is a reaction. And if he's going to continue to harass and try to bully me, then I will address it publicly until YouTube or the authorities take action against him and put a stop to it. That's all there is to it. So that's that, you know. As far as anybody else's dealings with him, well, whatever you guys do, you're gonna do. I'm not saying I'm for or against anything. I'm just saying your actions are your own. I have my campaign against him. If you guys want to jump onto that campaign and forward all your information against YRV to YouTube, then great. And we've got sirens going on. Apparently an ambulance or an emergency ice cream meeting. I don't know. But that's the norm in my hometown. But back to the YRV thing. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to be threatened. And I'm not going to tolerate it. If Daniel wants, of the Your Rights volunteer ordeal, wants to be an activist, then be an activist and start getting along with people. Otherwise, if this guy's just going to bully people and harass people, then he needs to be removed from YouTube immediately. And this action needs to cease. And that's all I've got to say on the matter. After that video aired, I reposted my original 3 videos, created a folder on my YouTube channel containing every anti-YRV video I could find, and even contacted a lawyer in regards to Daniel's actions, forwarding all the documentation I had in order to build a case against him. Now at this point the lawyer is still going over everything and I am waiting to hear back from him. And yes, Daniel is more than aware of this. In fact, as of September 2013, Daniel began creating numerous sock accounts or fake profiles to troll myself and others as quote YRV supporters so that he can pretend that he's being a good boy and save face legally. And also because in a previous video of mine titled Message to Your Rights Volunteer, I called him out for being the only one sticking up for himself and his plan. In addition to trying to cover his ass and to fake support, he began using those accounts to make it seem that not only is he gaining support, but also that those alleged supporters are former Anons, having left Anonymous in favor of creating a new anonymous collective centered around the YRV, making anti-anonymous videos in addition to trolling with that new anonymous agenda. When I saw this, I called him out on it, as did Conspiracy Anonymous and Grandmaster Revan. But you might be asking, well, how do I know that they're not actually other people with their own profiles and not Daniel? Well, the answer to that is simple. Though there may be a small few who have jumped on the new anonymous bandwagon for various reasons, it is clear that the majority of these profiles are in fact Daniel, in that they use the same propaganda statements that Daniel does on his original profile, as well as make the same grammar and spelling errors Now, soon after myself, Conspiracy Anonymous, and Grandmaster Revan made public Daniel's antics, Anonymous got wind of what YRV was doing and released the following video statement.
Greetings, your rights volunteers. We are anonymous. As you are well aware, we have been keeping a very close eye on you and your actions. Since releasing your personal information, we have kept silent and watched as you continued to harass, threaten and slander members of the YouTube community, both anon and non-anon alike, without remorse. All in the name of defending yourself and your idea from those who speak out against your actions, calling them liars and terrorists. Are you so high on yourself that you fail to see that the problem here isn't so much your plan and that it is you? It is your actions, your trolling comments, your threatening emails, your demonizing videos, and your constant flagging of channels and videos of anyone who speaks negatively about you. That is why people and Anonymous have a problem with you. Yes, we turned down your plan. We turned it down because, aside from the fact that you wanted Anonymous to follow you and accept you as our leader when we don't have one or need one, our main reason is this. Unknown to you, that very idea was proposed to us many times in the past and has been tried before and has failed due to its many flaws. And though you feel that you may be the exception, we see the logic in that no matter what you do or who tries, you cannot fit a circle into a square peg. That is the base reality to our reasonings for our rejecting you. And rather than cutting your losses and moving on, accepting rejection and the reality that not everyone is going to agree with you, you chose to declare a war on Anonymous and any other critics who cross your path. And what did it accomplish? Did Anonymous die or concede to you? Did the people bite your claims, stories and baseless allegations against Anonymous and others? Did it serve you in gaining more support for the YRV plan? No, it did not. If anything, it has gained us more support and served to only hurt you and your plan. And the only comeback you could muster is deleting your comments and deleting and remaking your videos so that you could try to cover up your actions and the points people made about you and your plan. So that you could pretend and play the part of the victim, saying that people were lying about you. Like we said, we have been watching you and paying very close attention to what you have been doing. And we have noticed that you seem to have finally figured out that your actions were not working. And as of such have decided to change tactics and attempt to form your own anonymous collective based on deception and lies. Creating fake Anon profiles and videos to suggest that Anons are leaving Anonymous and joining you in an alleged merger in efforts to create a YRV-centered Anonymous collective. You couldn't get Anonymous to follow you and your plan, accepting you as leader because Anonymous does not have, want or need a leader. So you have decided to try and form your own, attempting to undermine and destroy Anonymous for your own gain. However, you fail to realize that this has been tried before and has failed for two reasons. 1. The people, even those not a part of Anonymous, know what Anonymous really is and what it really stands for, and thusly can spot a fake Anon channel and video a mile away. 2. The collective has never tolerated people posing as anonymous or using the anonymous name for their own gain or agendas. And you will be no exception. We will not tolerate your actions of deception, using our name for your own purposes. So we will say this only once. Remove all YRV anonymous campaign videos and channels from all social media sites, in addition to removing all of your fake anon profiles and channels, and have your supporters do the same. Failure to comply will result in the removal of yourself and all YRV profiles and videos from all social media sites, in addition to any new profiles you create. The time for talking is over. We have warned you time and time again and have been very lenient and patient. But the buck stops here. Either do as we have directed and focus on your plan away from and without any further mention of anonymous, or suffer the consequences of your actions. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
A short time later, Conspiracy Anonymous released a video showing a YRV video on his phone where Daniel pleads with his quote supporters to stop trolling anonymous channels. Now, I never got to see Daniel's video because Daniel had removed it from YouTube a day or so after he had posted it. So I wrote him asking to please repost it. However, I wasn't able to send it from my home channel, Resistance 2058, because he has since blocked me. So I wrote him from my other channel, Black Wasp Entertainment, and I received nothing but hostility. But even with his videos, the trolling didn't stop, and I continued to call YRV out on his bullshit. Then Daniel released another video which shows how big of a hypocrite he really is, and I'll explain what I mean by that. You see, Daniel claims that he is not the leader of the YRV, and thus the plan is in the hands of the people, and he has no authority. But he has made himself the arbitrator of the plan, which by definition is an appointed leader. So not only is he the leader of the YRV, but also appointed himself. He wasn't voted in, he appointed himself. All that, along with his actions of threatening and attempting to silence and destroy his critic, all of which are vintage dictator tactics, and yes, I am calling him a dictator, because only a dictator would resort to such actions and lie to the people to save his own ass and portray himself and his idea as a good thing. But more on that in a moment. For now, let's just have a look at Daniel's video to his quote new anonymous, showing that he is the leader of YRV by barking orders and kicking the alleged new anonymous out of his club.
Hello, I'm Daniel and welcome to the Your Rights Volunteer. We're closed until the 1st of the year for the following reason. A couple of people in Anonymous wanted to set up a new Anonymous and join in with the YRV. I didn't want him to be the same as old Anonymous. They was going to have a few rules, and a few people, although not actually declared leader, would be declared kind of like a semi-leader, or basically authorized and verified American Anon, so that the citizens would know that they're dealing with individuals that are actually in America and not in other countries around the world. But you know, they went on other channels, they were saying stuff. I put up a video, I told them you need to cut that shit out. You agreed to specific rules of the new Anon, and then I get an email from one of my channels that I made specifically to kind of spy on you guys, see what you was doing, and I got an email saying, hey, don't tell Dan, we got a party going on up at this channel, and basically gonna go spam the hell out of them and all that other good shit, when you were asked specifically not to. Now, I kind of ignored that a little bit because nobody was making threats, although they were posting a bunch of comments. But I still am getting complaints about you guys going on anonymous channels. I told you specifically that you was to stay off of the anonymous channels and allow the citizens to come to you. If you can't do that, then you're no better than the old anonymous, and all you are is another faction of anonymous going around attacking everything and anything that moves, basically. That wasn't what you were supposed to be, and that's not what you're going to be in the Your Rights Volunteer. So all of you consider yourself no longer a part of the Your Rights Volunteer. Okay? If at the first of the year I don't get any complaints and I see that you guys are not commenting on other anonymous videos and all that other good stuff, and you are in fact only posting videos and allowing the citizens to come to you, then and only then will I reinstate the new anonymous in the YRV. Okay. Meanwhile, who gives a shit if these paranoid schizophrenics and criminals and retards, and everybody knows which three individuals I just referenced, say about us. Okay? If you feel that you need to make a rebuttal video, then rebuttal with the truth. Tell them the Your Rights Volunteer is itself a service performed by the citizens for the citizens without any leadership, that does not tell people who to vote for or what to do, that it was specifically designed to eliminate every single dime that it takes for a publicly elected official to get elected, eliminating $2.5 trillion a year in tax deductions that the super corporations and special interest groups use to control and buy your politicians, thereby putting $2.5 trillion a year into the government and or into the economy in the way of building businesses and using that for the write-offs. Okay, make videos telling people that the YRV structure is there only to show an identifiable chain of command, even though there is no leader and nobody has any dictatorial power over the person above or below them. It is simply an information and exchange, and we only use the names of government type, you know, like president and state representative and stuff like that, because they were only identifiable names to give it a structure, even though they have no authoritative power over anyone above or below them in the plan. And it was strictly there to identify and specifically track the citizens' votes, because like it is right now, you go to the poll, you vote, you never see your vote again. We were going to set it up to where every single citizen can vote and then be able to track their vote, to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt who voted for what, and to be able to hold that vote accountable through the government and force the government to actually take that vote, basically eliminating the unjust electoral college, and eventually, even someday, the positions within the Your Rights Volunteer could probably even be subsidized by the government, considering that we will be putting in $2.5+ plus trillion a year into the economy. And, you know, we only owe $17 trillion in the national debt. 2.5 trillion plus dollars a year will go a long way to knocking that down really, really, really quick. Okay? Yeah. So, you know, if they don't believe in that and they think they would much rather destroy their homes and kill their wives and kids trying to overthrow the government, then, you know, if the citizens are stupid enough to fall for that, then they get what they deserve. Okay? It's a little too late for this November. All you can do is cross your fingers and hope Anonymous fails yet again this year, like they did in 2011 and 2012 when they were doing the same shit. Okay? Okay. We all of us here know that Anonymous is telling everybody this is going to be a peaceful protest, but then again in their videos they're telling them the government has to do this on the November 5th. They have to agree to elections and all this other stuff. And if a single person gets arrested during the protest, we're going to retaliate with violence and all this other good shit. Okay, you know damn good and well that every single one of Anonymous's protests have ended in violence. Okay, now a lot of people will go, oh no, that's not true. Look at the Occupy Wall Street movement. That was all peaceful. Nobody ever got violent. Well, I got to say, you're wrong. Watch the movie Occupy Unmasked. You'll see that got violent. For some unknown reason, the media never aired any of the violence. So, how can Anonymous claim that the media is biased against them when they're protecting them? Something to think about. Anyway, if you guys stay off the channels and you quit harassing these guys, I'm telling you, you guys got these guys sitting in little dark corners in their videos, whining and crying and basically in hysteria over their garbage. I mean, the guy with the plate in his head, he's obviously a schizophrenic, and the guy with the criminal made a bomb and claimed it was a firework, even though he put BBs in it. Sorry, if you put metal objects in a firecracker, it is a grenade and it is used for one purpose: killing or injuring citizens. So that don't fly. Sorry. And then as far as the other guy, dude, can't you tell he is mildly retarded? Okay, leave him alone. You know, if you want to make a rebuttal video, make a rebuttal video. But if you keep commenting on Anonymous channels, and that's it. I'm not going to use Anonymous whatsoever come the first of the year when I restart. And if I have to, I'll start from the very beginning. Okay? I've dealt with these guys. They only want you on their channel for the views. They will do anything in the world to sucker you into coming onto their channel and posting a comment. That's all they want. They want to be able to twist your words. They want to be able to nitpick you. They want to be able to claim you're me. That's funny as hell. I'm sorry. But yeah. It's nuts, and I know it. But, you know, stay off their channels. If I see any more comments by you guys, and I have every single one of you guys' channels, if I see any comments from these specific channels, and you tell anybody that subscribes to you that, hey, do not comment on them. If they have a video posted of the new Anonymous on their channel, make certain you specifically tell them, do not comment on any Anonymous channel for any reason whatsoever. If they have a issue with a video, to make a video of their own. Okay, make a rebuttal video talking about why they feel that particular action is not right. Let the citizens come to you. Okay, it's not what we're about. We're not about attacking Anonymous. We never was. I fell for it. I tried to explain to these guys multiple times that what they're saying about the Your Rights Volunteer is flat out lies. They're being terrorists, all that other stuff, and all they did was keep coming, twist the words, make you look bad, make videos, say you're attacking female Anons when you're not, all kind of off the wall shit. So stay the hell off their channels. And come to the first of the year, if you guys have behaved like New Anonymous was supposed to be behaving, then and only then will I reincorporate New Anonymous back into the YRV. But for now, you're out. Period. I'm not joking. You're out. You're on probation until the first of the year.
Now we're going to discuss the flaws in Daniel's plan by dissecting his video titled How to Fix America and Bring World Peace, the YRV step-by-step plan. But before we get into the video, I'm going to point out two obvious problems with the YRV plan. The first problem with Daniel's plan is Daniel himself. After everything we have seen from him, it is clear that he is a liar, overly emotional, irresponsible in his actions, portrays dictator-like characteristics, and does not take any responsibility. Thusly, is not fit to start, lead, or teach a movement or plan of any kind. And it has to be assumed that if the creator is flawed, then the plan is flawed as well. And if in the event the plan was flawless, Daniel, who is the arbitrator, or for a better term, leader of the YRV plan, has not focused on his plan, but rather on his critics, focusing all his time and energy on them when he could be using that time to gain support, teach, and execute his plan. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and move on to Daniel's video, and we'll pick apart his plan as we go.
Welcome to the YRV, Your Rights Volunteer, the first and only true 100% guaranteed plan for world peace. However, world peace starts at home.
The plan guarantees world peace? I'm sorry, but as beautiful of a notion as that is, it's simply not possible. Maybe if he were God, then yeah, I could believe it, but as a man, there's no way. Studies have shown that as human beings, we are naturally aggressive and even violent creatures. It's human nature, for lack of a better term. And with humanity being divided by skin color, language, religion, as well as moral and ethical standards, even under a one-world governmental system, with all the hate and prejudice in the world, world peace is a pipe dream.
To fix the world, you must first fix your country first. To fix your country, you must know what is wrong with it first. So the big question is, what exactly is wrong? Let's take a look. First, we have a government that is visibly corrupted by greed. In fact, it has gotten so bad our governments cannot even hide their corruption anymore. Is it because the super rich already have a monopoly within our government? Most citizens think this is the reason, but it's not entirely accurate yet. The Constitution of the United States have kept the super rich at a standoff from USA domination for years. So who are the major players running the US government? There are two very powerful special interest parties in play right now. and hundreds of others, all making things worse regardless of their agendas, good or bad. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party, both are actually special interest parties backed primarily by the super rich top 1% of the world. Although they would like you to believe that the word Democrat means they are for short-term fix-it-now growth, which is true for their agendas, or believe that Republican means they are for long-term growth, which is also true for their agendas. They are actually two totally different groups comprised of the richest men in the world, both sides seeking total economic domination and control over the world. I would not call them evil men or even Illuminati, just very rich men that wish to run the world the way they think it should be ran, because they have the ability to do so. And if you can, why not? So how do you fight the men that have at least 50% or better the wealth of the world and all the power? You do not fight them. So what can you do? Remove their ability to buy your politicians. Is that even possible? The answer is yes, 100%. Have you heard of the saying, if you can remove the money from politics, the world would be a better place? Well, I am about to show you the one and only way to remove money from politics.
Okay, let's put a hold on this. He says his plan will remove the ability for the criminal globalists to buy the politicians, basically disrupting their entire criminal agenda. Now, what generally happens when someone, even a rival force, gets in the way of criminals or a criminal organization and hinders their operations? The criminals, in one way or another, will eliminate the disruption. We have seen this time and time again in the past with the mafias of the world and even in street gangs. So what's to stop the criminal businessmen running a corrupt criminal enterprise such as the United States government? Absolutely nothing. It would be far too easy to remove his online presence by deleting his sites and channels, as well as cutting the globalist-owned internet services of any and all YRV supporters. And if that doesn't work, then they could always just trump up some criminal, even terrorist charges against Daniel and his followers, if not just have him and his supporters killed like JFK and others.
But to understand how to remove the money, you must first understand how the YRV plan works. We at the YRV are building the world's first volunteer independent worldwide voter information and exchange coalition. Starting with the US, we are using a governmental type structure, so if someone leaves the plan because of inability to donate time, accident, or death, the volunteer can be replaced, keeping the plan 100% strong. In this plan, there is no one person with more power than anyone else in the plan at any level of the plan, from the person at the bottom to the person at the top, with one exception, and that is the arbitrator at the top of the plan. Me. I will have 100% authority to move, remove, and or replace anyone at any time for any reason in the plan at any level of the plan during the initial building of the plan, i.e. the first 500 volunteers.
Okay, first off, let me point out that I mistook his 500 person deal as being a governing body of 500. That was my mistake and I own it. I admit I'm not perfect, but unlike Daniel, I can admit my mistakes. But there's a bigger issue here. And the bigger issue here is that Daniel claims he's not the leader of the plan. So even if it's just up until the first 500 supporters, if he's not the leader and this is a leaderless organization, where does he have any authority to make any kind of executive decisions? That's my first point. My second point here is that a system like this requires bookkeeping, records of its supporters, at least for the first 500 volunteers, and the who's who does what, and so on. And someone has to keep those records, right? Well, until after the first 500 supporters join, presumably it will be Daniel who is going to be keeping these records. And should he desire to keep his power over his following, what's to stop him from holding part of, if not all of those records, to prevent his supporters from finding out that the organization has grown beyond 500 supporters and thus lose his control over his followers? Well, Dan says in his video that the higher-ups have YouTube channels, so there's an online record, right? Wrong. A YouTube channel is not a viable record and cannot provide accountability on any level, especially for the YRV membership structure. You need records. Every interaction and every issue must be documented, and those documents must be available to the public, or else Daniel can say and do anything, including claim that certain channels were kicked out for whatever reason, and without available records, there is no way of knowing if he's speaking the truth.
After the first 500 volunteers, there must be a valid complaint filed with reasonable proof by a citizen or volunteer concerning inappropriate behavior or violations of the YRV rules with a supervisor, or if the complaint is about a supervisor, his immediate supervisor. If there is no determination by the supervisor or the determination seems unfair, you can appeal to the next supervisor above them using the chain of command all the way up to the arbitrator at the top of the YRV plan. He or she will have the final say in the matter and make a determination based on available facts, information he or she gathers by all involved parties and supervisors that could not satisfy or resolve the issue at hand. Let me first start with letting you know that the names of the individual levels have in no way any kind of additional powers or authority over anybody above or below them. Everyone in this planet is equal, and no one is allowed to dictate to anyone as to what they are or are not to do. Everyone must come to a unanimous vote or unanimous decision. If it cannot be made unanimous, the vote or decision must be brought to the next level, all the way up to the Your Rights arbitrator. If a unanimous decision cannot be come to or brought about by the lower levels, then the arbitrator will count all votes on all levels to make a decision as to majority rule.
Though an information exchange and open information sharing network is a good thing, it's already been done many times with things like WikiLeaks and other open information sharing sites. Now, if the goal is government transparency and accountability, then it must be made policy and made into law, which it already is in many respects. But in a corrupted criminal governmental system, it's ignored. A truth and a fact that has been demonstrated time and time again by U.S. politicians on every level. My next point here is that part of his plan is a governmental type system where everyone from the person at the bottom to the person at the top is equal. Where in most respects equality is a good thing, in a structure such as a governing body, it cannot work because there is no recognized authority and thus no chain of command, and as a result you're going to have a bunch of people telling each other you're not the boss of me. Now he says any issue, change, or ideas will be taken to a supervisor, which won't work if there's no recognized or respected authority. So it's going to have to go to a vote like in Congress, only the vote must be unanimous, which in the real world rarely ever happens. So you will have to settle with a 51% or higher. So being that it's kind of like Congress, you don't need that chain of command because everyone is equal. So if someone does something wrong which is against the plan and has the majority backing them, then a vote won't do any good. Or if someone wants to weed out someone else, then all they have to do is get a majority support, and then that person in question is gone. And that could just as easily happen to Daniel. If the majority don't like him or what he's doing, then as per his plan, by a unanimous or majority vote of 50% or better, Daniel can be kicked out of his own plan, and he can't say or do anything about it, thus opening the door for any corruption, because all you need is a 50% majority agreement to change something for better or for worse.
Now, we are not asking for donations in any way, shape, or form. Money is not needed to build this plan. However, it could easily help to spread the word about the plan. So if you feel the need to donate monetary funds in support of building this plan, let the arbitrator at the time you wish to donate know. If enough individuals insist on making donations, then we will set up a fund that is visible for everyone to see where the funds are coming from and where they are going. 100% of all funds donated would be used 100% for the building of the plan and securing voters. Now, if you're at all concerned about governmental manipulation or anything of that nature, you can support the YRV simply as a voter. Just let us know you would like information on the candidates when that information becomes available by representatives in your area, and you are automatically a YRV supporter. You would not ever need to make a video. You would not ever need to have a YouTube channel. A YouTube channel is used by the higher ups in order to give visibility and accountability to all levels of the plan. And because it is a free source of information and a free and easy way to get information from one individual to the next, we will eventually put up a secondary website for even faster communications between levels and the public. However, at this time, a website is a little too expensive at this early stage of the building of the YRV. This is a visual representation of the structure of the YRV, or Your Rights Volunteer. The arbitrator is at the top. You'll have continental representatives, presidents, state representatives, district representatives, city district representatives, zone district representatives, neighborhood volunteers, and the voters and supporters themselves. Everyone above a neighborhood volunteer will be required to have a YouTube channel. Now, I chose YouTube for a very specific reason, and that reason is video evidence of actual voter counts on every level for total 100% accountability. This is you. This is you right now. You are the most important person in the USA. You are the voter. You are the person the president spends billions to get you to vote for them. Regardless of how good their intentions are, they must all sell their soul to special interests or lose election. But not if we build the YRV. With the YRV network of volunteers, all voters can get all the information on all candidates running for office free, eliminating the need for promises to special interest PACs for money, freeing our government officials from oppression. These are your YRV neighborhood volunteers. They will be your friends and neighbors in your town or your city. They will see to it you get all the information on all candidates or laws about to be passed. They will ask you to give a preliminary vote for or against candidates and laws. Then they will pass that information to the person in charge of them to be posted in a video that will let you see how all your neighbors vote. This information will be passed up to the next level and be added to information from other neighborhoods to show the overall vote of a whole city, then be passed up to the next level. adding all the cities and towns to show the overall vote of a district, and then passed up to the next level. To make a video showing the votes of all districts in your state, then passed up to the next level, where all the votes of every state will be added together to show you the national vote. We will then send that information back down to the citizen voters, so you will know who you should cast your vote for or against any candidate or law. By getting the information in this way, you eliminate the special interest monies needed to reach the voters, and only candidates that do a good job will get reelected, not the person that bowed down and sold their soul to the special interest monies for governmental contracts and favors.
Okay, so the plan gets you all the information, cock-blocking the special interests and whatnot. Great, but there's still a big problem. Even with the voters having this information and can vote on it, it's a well-documented fact that the globalist 1% own the INS voting machines, and that the US government, under grounds of public privacy, is not obligated to produce receipts of any votes. Thusly, the votes can be changed and the special interest groups can put who they want in office or put in play whatever law or policy they wish, so long as there's politicians playing along. And even with a public preliminary vote, a person can change their mind at the polls, and thus is another open door for voter fraud and no required record by the government.
Stop. Wait, this stopped at the US president and did not go all the way to the arbitrator. Not everything needs to go all the way to the arbitrator. In fact, not everything needs to go all the way to the YRV president. Example, we get 51% or better of voters in District 5 of California. All the information will go to the district manager of District 5 and stop, because that information is not needed at state level. Although if a district manager for District 5 needs assistance for anything, he can ask his supervisors for help or even volunteer resources to make his task easier. Just like our government, not everything goes to the president. Note, all the individuals above the YRV president of the USA all deal with other countries that have or wish to join in to build the worldwide citizen, voter, and information exchange collective that will bring all the citizens of the world together for a united and singular voice, ending all dictatorships, corrupt government manipulation of other governments or countries, terrorism, war, and even starvation.
Aside from trying to get the US government to go along with his plan, Daniel expects that he can get every government of the world to accept this plan as well. First off, there's already a system in place which was supposed to do a lot of what the YRV plan says. It's called the United Nations. That didn't work and is globalist run as well. My next point, even if the UN thing wasn't a factor and this was a brand new, fresh out of the box idea, the majority of governments around the world would not go for it. Why? Because nobody who holds power wants to give it up and will fight to keep it. That aside from the fact that this plan is based on the US democratic system, non-democratic countries like the Empire of Japan, Communist China, and even third world countries would look at this plan, laugh their asses off, then tell their people that any support of such an idea would be an act of treason and sedition.
And the best part yet, without special interests blocking governmental efforts by way of threats of no PAC money for re-elections, the oil industries will not be able to block or suppress clean or free energy patents. Without special interests blocking governmental efforts by way of threats of no PAC money for re-elections, the government will control big business, not big business control government. Support the YRV by 1. Letting us know on your state pledge video located on this or the YRV Founders channel, so you will get voter information from us because you support free information and free government. Support the YRV by 2. By letting us know you wish to help build the YRV plan by donating your time or resources. Everything is up to you, because in the YRV, you are the boss. So, to spread the plan, tell all your friends and others you meet about the YRV plan. Get in your social circle. Post ads anywhere you can, like Facebook, Twitter, Craigslist, any free media site, anywhere you can get information out to the public.
My next point here is addressing the issue with how to get the citizens to join with the YRV plan. Well, an online presence is a good start, but you must first build a reputation and publicize yourself so that people will see you and take notice. Then your reputation starts to build, people start talking, and word gets around. But when you do what Daniel did, your credibility plummets, and online, everyone can see it. And the only reputation you have is a bad one, which nobody wants to be affiliated with. So if you can't reach the people online, you have to resort to other methods. You could advertise on TV and radio, but that costs a great deal of money. And with the value of the US dollar steadily decreasing and the cost of living skyrocketing, to do so will prove to be a task in itself. Now, you can have your supporters take to the streets, knocking on doors or putting up booths at grocery stores and what have you, like religious groups do. But there's a big problem with that. One thing everyone knows is people don't like talking about religion or politics. And it's a well-known fact that people don't like having strangers knocking on their doors or coming up to them in public places, disrupting their daily lives to talk about these topics. Don't think so? Just ask any Jehovah's Witness or Mormon missionary and they will tell you how hard it is to get investigators by talking to random strangers. And for the few who are interested, they will want more information before making any kind of commitment. A detailed plan such as this cannot be accurately and clearly explained in its entirety in a few minutes' time, nor can it be put into little pamphlets and handouts. It takes time to explain and to be learned, so naturally YRV reps will have to meet with investigators to thoroughly explain the plan and persuade their audience to join. All the while, the investigators will be going online and more than likely doing their own research on the YRV plan, at which point they're going to see everything Daniel has done and been called out on, potentially causing the investigator to lose interest and avoid having anything to do with the YRV plan.
I'd like to share a comment with you somebody told me. They told me I can replace all the district representatives I want across the U.S. All they'll do is change a new law and stop us. Well, hello. The district representatives is your Congress, the House of Representatives. They make the laws. You replace all the district representatives, you own the House. The person that owns the House controls the government and all the laws.
Now, in order for this plan to work, aside from having the support of the people, you have to get the government to play along as well. Now, Dan says here in his video that if you own the house, you make the rules. Wrong. It's he who has the gold who makes the rules. And it's not just special interest groups controlling our government from the outside with special interest PACs and whatnots. It's those special interest groups who are also a part of and put themselves in the government. One such example of this is the Bush family, who owns Arbustel Oil and have major stocks in AOL Time Warner. It's one big networking scheme for money and power. And though you may get a few elected officials in who have the interest of the people in mind, those who don't will fight to keep and gain their ground back. So it is clear that the government is not going to accept this plan that undermines their agenda. And to put good politicians in power in order to get a majority to support the plan will be one hell of a fight. And if successful, the government is then majority for the people and can thus cockblock the criminal 1% themselves by law and policy implementation, so thus the YRV plan is no longer necessary.
So in closing, I'd like to talk about how much the president spent to get elected and how much special interest money he used. So how much does the U.S. president earn? Let's take a look. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. President earned 200,000 plus expense accounts. Oh, a lot of money. What did he spend to get elected? According to this, Obama and Romney both collectively spent $2 billion with a B to get elected. And then on top of that, they both relied on an additional $1 billion of special interest money. So this President Obama and Mitt Romney earned about $1 billion each and relied on outside groups that spent another $1 billion on a presidential race mounting stimulus blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. $1.5 billion for Obama to become president of the United States for a $200,000 plus expense a year job. And you wonder why our government is corrupt? Where do you think all this money comes from? It's the special interests. His hands are tied behind his back for 90% of what he may wish to do, whether it's honorable or not. He's not going to be able to do it. Or he will commit political suicide. They'll yank the funding and elect somebody else. End of story. So how many super PACs are there? Well, let's take a look. These are all special interest parties. Restore Our Future supports Romney, $142 million. Let's see. Priorities USA Action supports Obama, $66 million. All of these special interest groups all want something out of their thing. They raise money, they really muck up the works. All these politicians can do is steal a little bit of money from one temporarily to get them their way and then push it back, and oh my God, it is just a total living nightmare in the government. Between the Democrats and the Republicans, they steal from one to satisfy their supporters and backers, and then later on turn around and put everything back, or they just cut the funding out of a school in order to fund the project from the special interest that they promised they would because they donated $100 million to their campaign fund, blah, 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 etc., etc. We need to end this now. All of it. No more. Let's take a look at the special interest group, the tobacco industry. Read it for yourself. Okay? You think these special interests are not corrupted themselves? 5 months after Newt Gingrich dropped out the Republican Party, the founder of this super political action committee was paying himself money still. Oh my God. Think this is all money coming out of your pocket. You want to support someone? Support the YRV movement, okay? Use your money wisely. Fix it right from the ground up. And if all the corruption isn't enough to scare you into joining the YRV, read this. Future human economics is dependent on the continuation of Earth's life support system. Our planet is dying. These are facts. 50% of our forests are dead. 80% of the ocean fish are dead compared to the late 1900s. 38% of the amphibians dead. 40% of the ocean's protoplankton dead since 1950s. 90% big predator ocean fish dead. 33% bees dead. 50% coral reefs dead or bleached and almost dead. 90% of all life dead by the year 2050. 1 billion extra humans are being added to our planet every 12 years, while fossil fuels pollution increases proportionately. Meanwhile, our oceans are totally lawless and will become collapsed by 2040-2050. Citizens, unite to outlaw the polluters and destroyers of our planet. Support the Earth Federation YRV movement today. You do not have time left to pity Annie bullshit around. screwing up everything the way you are. I want you to take a look at this chart starting at the 1970s and leading up to the year 2000. There are no nations, there is only humanity. And if we don't come to understand that right soon, there will be no nations because there will be no humanity. That is a wise man. We need to unite if we expect to stop 29,000 nuclear bombs, 440 plus nuclear power plants, human rights abuse, including war crimes, abuse of women and poor people, supreme ecological emergency, corporate exploitation of people and nature, among many more. We must get together. We must do something. Albert Einstein couldn't have said it better himself. The world's present system of sovereign nations can only lead to barbarism, war, inhumanity. There is no salvation for civilization or even human race other than the creation of a world government. That's exactly what we're doing. The YRV creates a civilian, independent world government, separate from all the other governments, to keep control and check all of the individual governments until the day that all governments are under the same control and we can vote as a human race to eliminate the nations of the world and become one single world united. That is the ultimate goal. World peace. And if you don't take my word for it, take Albert Einstein's.
Now, I wouldn't have believed it had I not heard it with my own ears. Here is Daniel, a professed human rights activist, openly endorsing the New World Order and openly admitting that his plan is in fact a mini world government acting until all governments of the world become a one world governmental system. That his plan is for all intensive purposes a stepping stone for achieving a new world order, which any activist knows that a new world order is exactly what the criminal 1% have been working so hard to create with all their criminal actions and slowly weeding out the people's rights. Any activist who acknowledges the new world order knows this and is trying to stop it, yet here's Daniel running headlong into it, going the total opposite direction against every activist, whether anonymous, Tea Party, Alex Jones, Jeff Renzi, and so many others. In conclusion, I want to share with you one last point. On October 25th, 2013, I received an email from my friend Conspiracy Anonymous, which was a copy of an email sent to him by Daniel of the YRV, which read, "I have no time for your bullshit. I am working on modifying and streamlining the YRV plan, but I will tell you this, if Anonymous manages to not start the war and America stays intact this November, I will be offering a different YRV plan, a new way to achieve our mutual goals here in the USA that not even Anonymous can refuse to back without showing truly terrorist intentions and a plan that even you will back as a convicted felon." Here you see that even Daniel sees the flaws in his plan and is heading back to the drawing board. And as per his email, he once again expects Anonymous to jump on board with him, and if they don't, then they are the terrorists he claims they are. Now, I hate to burst Daniel's bubble, but most activists, including Anonymous, aren't going to join with Daniel's reformed YRV plan. Not because they're terrorists or anything, but because, as has been addressed in this documentary, Daniel has for the most part destroyed his public image and, as per his actions, made enemies out of nearly every activist and YouTuber he has come across. Now, in saying that Anonymous won't join the YRV, I'm not speaking for them. I'm merely making an observation, and that observation is that, like the original YRV plan, the first and biggest problem with his new plan, and I don't need to see his plan to point this out, the biggest problem with his plan is himself, in that after everything he's done during the year of 2013, most people want nothing to do with him or anything he is a part of. Now, in closing, I want to point out that I don't hate Daniel or anything like that. And though I'll admit that I've had a bit of fun, like with my Anon Laws video about him and the bear, I'm not out to troll or bully him with the creation of this video documentary. Nor is this some secret agenda to gain more subscribers and support at his expense, as if this were some TV ratings war. As activists combating the New World Order, we need to be on the same side, not fighting each other. Now, Daniel may feel differently about this, and I'm sure he feels that he is in competition with others. And if so, that's on him. I've tried talking with him, I've tried helping him, and he just carries on doing the same old stuff. He can say I'm lying about him and trying to keep you away from his channel and his plan, but for me, it really doesn't matter what he says at this point. I've been completely honest in this documentary, even with the things I've said or did that were wrong. I've shown you all the evidence in regards to my claims, covered point for point, fact for fact, having documented everything I have in regards to Daniel and the kind of person that he is. All the evidence is there. What you choose to do with it is up to you. I'm not going to try to tell you what to do. All I ask is that you look at the facts and make your own determinations. If you agree with what I've said, then great. If not, and you see nothing wrong with Daniel, his actions, or his plan, and wish to support him, then by all means do so. I won't begrudge you for thinking for yourselves. You know, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, a wise man makes his own decisions, and an ignorant man follows public opinion. So please, make your own decisions and form your own opinions. I'm just here to report and document the issues. What you do and think about them is and has always been up to you. Take care, everyone, and until next time, this is the Tin Man with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance.
But I can't hear shit cause of this pouring rain. I wish it would quit. A drop of rain for every sin of mankind. And all this rain must be the angels crying, cause we're lost in the shadows, alone in the dark, giving in to the things that blacken our hearts, following devils and demons away from the light, only be lost in the shadows in the dead of night, consumed and trapped with worldly things. We're nothing but puppets up on our strings, swimming around in the bowels of the beast to choose heaven or hell before we're deceased. But for now, we sit being puppets and toys, living our lives lost in the void. Trapped in a daze, turning left and right like I'm lost in a maze. I'm not a bad person, I just do bad things, like a demon for God, at least that's what it seems. but feel evil at heart. And this guilt from my sins just rips me apart. I'm called a hypocrite, a fake, whatever they please. But every day I'm praying, down on my knees. I pray for forgiveness, but how far does that go? Will God forgive this thug? The hell if I know. Yes, I'm real, what you see is what you get. It